Hey up everybody and welcome back to the Velogames podcast, where today we're going to be talking about the Tour de la Provence, of course joined by the regular cast of Dan, Irfan and Pedro. John may be joining us later on, so just expect a face to pop up randomly later on. But yeah, Tour de la Provence, of course, after the Étoile de Bessèges and the Volta Comunitat Valenciana. The stages are, it doesn't include any mountaintop finish, which is a bit unusual for Provence. I swear it usually has one, but we've got a prologue to start with, which I will be classifying as stage one. I don't care what people, this whole prologue.
It's not technically a prologue, Patrick. It's not technically stage one, Patrick.
I know, but I don't believe in it. I don't. Stage one is a prologue. Stage two is a slightly lumpier affair. Stage three will be the main decider. It's got like a 1-ish kilometer, 4% drag up to the line, and it's definitely the hardest day, but it's certainly not hilly, like mountainous kind of hilly. It's not climber worthy at all. Another flat stage. So it's definitely a Pedersen sort of race. Arguably, one of the main talking points is about the weather. Apparently, it's going to be pretty naff over there. So it's going to be, we've been talking in our group chat about the kind of classic style riders who might be quite good. There could certainly be echelons maybe on that stage two, and that could be more decisive for GC than, say, a few seconds lost here or there in the prologue. But speaking of all that, I'll just present the Velogames website, and we'll take a look at some of rider prices. So Pedersen's gone up from 20 to 28. The main question is, does Pedersen being 28 credits put any of you off, or are you still going to pick him?
I still think he's too cheap.
What would you price him at to be?
Honestly,
34?
I've got a few sixes in my team, which I would happily put down to 4 and just pick 2 random people if Pedersen was like, I don't know, 30, 32, 34, because he's by some way the strongest rider in the race. Because you look at Zongler and Bennett and Hofstetter, I'm not particularly confident any of them will do well in the prologue. Maybe Zongler, perhaps, but you've got most of the Trek team and FDJ teams and potentially some of the Israel Premier Tech team doing well in the prologue. So, I mean, Mads could be, he could be like Vingegaard at the Tour, sort of like 5, 6, 7, 4, 6, 8 credits more than Zongler. But he is what he is, and it means I can get him. So,
yeah, I think that, Pedersen realistically, I uploaded a video earlier today, and if he were to win all 4 stages, which, let's face it, it's not out of the question, and win GC and get all of those points, he would be near 1,000 points in a 4-stage race, which is insanity. Pedro, is Pedersen in your team right now?
Yeah, he is for sure. I believe it at 28. The parkour is basically perfect for his the type of rider he is. So I believe 28. It's not cheap, but it's an okay price. I'm willing to pay the 28 for Pedersen, because I believe he'll score above 900, maybe not 900, 850. That's almost sure. If you want to win, you gotta pick Mads, I believe.
Yeah, because even if this bad weather does come, there are echelons. Well, Pedersen's got that covered as well. He is just perfect in all occasions for this. Irfan, what price would Pedersen have to be for you to not pick him? Like 40 credits? Do you reckon that might be too much?
I think even that you have to be crazy not to pick him, because I'd rather leave out Zingle or Sam Bennett or Hofstetter, but I think there's no scenario except that he crashes, which I hope he doesn't. But there's, like you said, it's windy echelons, climbing. It's not any top hill or a mountain top finish, so I think he'll be contesting all 4 stages, and there's no reason not to pick him even at 40.
Yeah, that's very true. What's your guys' opinion on, we got, speaking of the kind of next expensive riders, Zongler, Bennett, Hofstetter, Remy Rojas. Are any of these guys getting into your teams, or is it that Pedersen's quite expensive, so you're having to compromise? Remy Rojas, for the love of God, please do not pick Remy Rojas. Anybody out there, please don't. But Zongler,
it's both.
Bennett,
Sorry, it's both. It's both of those for me that I would like. I have had a team with both Pedersen and Bennett, but I just don't trust Bennett.
Me neither.
I trust Gotarat, who is a whole half his price, and not many people. Well, some people might not know who he is because he hasn't done loads of big races yet. But as you said in your video earlier, I think he was second to Matthews in one of the Mallorcan races, and he tends to do well in those bad weather French Cup races. So I've basically got Pedersen and then a whole load of 10s and 8s.
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. I should just stop running my traps sometimes and just stop revealing these really good riders, shouldn't I? Yeah, I agree. Those kind of 10s, 8s, and 12s are really good value, I think, for a lot of them. I mean, yeah, what do you think, Pedro? Bennett, do you reckon he's Zongler, Hofstetter? Are any of these names tempting?
I mean, from those three, Zongel maybe because of his TT skills. I mean, it's not a TT, but he does well on the shorter efforts. So I believe if he manages to do well on the first stage, he'll fight for the sprints too, because the sprinting field is not extremely strong. So I believe he can score quite a few points, and he will keep the hope up because of the stage, let's call 3, according to Patrick's logic. I believe that finish, it looks like Zangel to me. Right now I have Mads and Zangel, and it's not easy to set up a team with those two, but I'm willing to try it.
What worries me about Cofidis is that you've got Christophe Nopper at 6, who is himself a very good a classic style Belgian rider. So I worry that Zongel might. I mean, he could well be GC, but having that there is a bit of a shadow.
I know what you mean. I'm almost trying to envision the echelon and who's going to be in that front group already. And I'm seeing a good free track riders. I'm seeing a couple of FDJ in there. I do think that the echelons could be a big threat for this. I mean,
you basically pick your team based on height and weight.
Yeah. I mean, some of these riders.
And Zongel is not a tall guy.
Yeah, that's very true.
We have Bennett. He's a tall, heavy guy, and I don't trust him. So
that's true. But Bennett has done well in echelons in Paris-Nice in the past, which is
and Ghent Wevelgem. But then he threw up midway through that. So
I do remember that part. Yes, that was a memorable addition. What about? I mean, there's a lot of riders here, so we won't go through like everyone. But like Dujardin, does he deserve a shout out here, or is he just another one of these? Like, he's very good for my stage 3. But outside of that, I'm like, these are just good flat sprints and stuff. I don't think it's massively suited to him. But do you think Dujardin, Ferron, are any of those guys tempting to you, or are these just two small Frenchmen who aren't getting in?
I don't see who else Total Energies are riding for the sprints. So I think because it's such a top-heavy sprint field, it's going to be Bennett, Pedersen, and then just a load of other guys. So Dujardin sprinted well. I mean, the one I remember is the Rwanda Tour. Or was it last year or the year before that? He was winning all the sprints there. So I think he'll just be one of those best of the rest brackets. So I did have him on my team for a bit, but he isn't there now purely because I think 16 is just a bit too much.
Yeah. That's fair. What about other Frenchmen? So moving on from them, I mean, decathlon with Bennett, but also Amaral with Godon, and of course we'll get on to Gortalat in a second. But you know, could Godon or Amaral be a sneakily quite good pick? Because Godon is a very good classic style rider. He was doing very well at those. What was it, like the Veneto Classic that he won? It was one of those Veneto
Yeah.
races at the end of last year. Could he be one of those people who gets into that front split? I could certainly see it happening, to be honest. But it's the difficulty that Decathlon AG2R have so many good riders here, I think, that you could just avoid them completely, but one of them I think will be doing well. Do you think that Godon or Amaral could be good? Because Amaral, we were saying how he's good as a time trialist, but his prologue skills aren't especially good. I'm scared of Amaral because I think you're banking solely on him doing well in the prologue, and I don't think that's a certainty. I think there'll be some random people who do well in the prologue who will just kind of jump out of the woodwork. I mean, Champoussin as well as one of those who not suited towards this race. But I'll tell you, what about the 12 credit riders? Because I think we're getting towards some interesting riders here. And I want to kick it off with Riley Sheehan. Lots of hype around this guy. Do you guys think that Sheehan could do something in this race? He caught us all off guard at Paris Tours last year. Is this a race that Sheehan could do really well in? Or do you think that Israel will work for somebody else?
Well, I've picked him because it's the first time I've seen him since that Paris Tour race. So I'd much rather have him than not have him.
Yeah.
But the guy immediately below him I've got as well, just because it's recency bias with Valencia, Taylor Stites. Don't know much about that American team, but they seem to all be kind of a typical sort of strong American sort of time trial sprinty people. But yeah, I mean, Israel seem a bit, there could be any number, like Tom Van Asbrook as well. Every team, unfortunately, has quite a few options.
Yeah, I mean, Sheehan is actually a good pick, but I mean, with Van Asbrook and Hofstetter in the same team, Israel is they're either gonna set the race on fire or they're just gonna blow it. But I'm not comfortable taking him because I think that they'll probably end up working for Hofstetter or Hasbrook. So, but he's definitely a good rider. So it's a good pick too. It's just that it's a very strong team.
Yeah, it is a very strong team. What do you think of Sheehan, Fan? Do you think that he could do something?
I agree with them. Like Israel has so many options, and putting 12 credits on one rider who is not the most experienced of them, and Hofstetter is a French, and they might like work for him, and there's Tom Van Asbroek, so I wouldn't spend 12 credit on him, while I have option like Dan said, I really like Tyler Stitz. I've seen his result and I have him. But one that we're not talking about is David Decker. He might not be the David Decker that we remember that he used to be, but I've looked at the Arkia and BNB Hotels team, and again, I don't see any other sprinters. So that I have him right now in my team, and I think he's a better option than Riley Sheehan.
Yeah, I was literally just going to go on to Decker because yes, this isn't the Jumbo Visma David Decker, but like Dan was saying earlier, the sprint field here, the bar's quite low, and Decker could quite easily get some top 3 finishes here just because he is.
Just because he's there.
Yeah, basically. And also, I remember in that UAE tour where he did have that kind of breakout, there was the stage which Van der Poel won. That was an echelon day, and he was in that front group.
I remember that, yes.
He's a big man, Like,
It's
big
not like
unit.
he's washed exactly, because last year at
Yeah.
Oman, I'm pretty sure he came second or third behind
Yeah.
Coquard and Merlier on stage one,
Wasn't-
and that was an uphill drag.
Yeah, wasn't in the Giro. Didn't he come top 3
Potentially,
on the
yeah.
stage? The one which Milan won very early on. Something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think
So-
I think he was 12 that time as well. Like, he's just always this really
Yeah.
annoying price where it's like almost too expensive. But
Yeah.
I mean, I might actually have to switch Sheehan to Decker now just because fans
Yeah.
talked me into it.
I think Sheehan is the sort of interesting kind of maverick pick if you're wanting quite a differential, somebody who not many people might pick. I think Decker's the safer one though. I think Sven Erik Bistrom, I think of the three, he's probably, well, of the 4 12 credit riders, he's probably the one who's least appealing to me, just because I just think that Groupama have talent in other areas. I'm not. He could very well finish like 8th place in GC, but that for 12 credits, if he doesn't really pick up stage results because he's not the fastest sprinter, that's not really worthwhile. And I think that a Decker or might be a better shout. So I think there's some good value from the 12 credits.
I see Bistrom, Champassan, and Rochas on this start list, and it's just like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
But it's the first race for them of the season, probably. So it's like, okay.
Decker is the, like you said, he didn't have a great season last year, but he has the talent, and with this sprinting field, I don't see how I could leave him out. He'll probably get at least one podium, I believe, and maybe, who knows, with a bit of luck, maybe win a stage. It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. He definitely has the talent. He has shown it, and I believe he's gonna be the main man for his team too. And that's also something we have to take in consideration. Right now he's on my team, and I don't see how I could leave him out right now.
Yeah. Moving on to the 10 credit riders, there's a few here which I like, who I'll point out. I like Gortalat, I like Kirsch, I like Van Asbrook, and I like Watson. I think those are my 4 favourite ones. My reasoning, Gortalat, he's just in good form, and Sam Bennett is well known for being beaten by his lead-out man. So therefore, I think that Gortalat, he's got that characteristic of somebody who I think could make a front split in an echelon, and he could very well sprint to a top 5. Kirsch, probably going to be good up there in the prologue, and he'll also be up there in the echelons, I bet, with Pedersen, and therefore will likely finish top 10 GC. Van Asbrook, less good for the prologue, but will he make those front splits if an echelon happens? Yes. Is he a fast finisher? Yes. There might be Hofstetter and Sheehan in there, but so he's got a little bit more risk. And then Watson, just because we'll get on to, another sprinter in Groupama FDJ in a minute, but Watson, I think, is another one who's this classic style rider. He's in a contract year, and I think that he could definitely be quite good if echelons do happen as well. So, do you guys agree with those 4? Is there any other 10 credit riders who you think might be good? Or actually, let's start with, who is your favourite 10 credit rider and why? Dan, you go first.
Oh, great. If circumstances reveal themselves to be this way, I'd say Gotterat is probably the best 10 because he's actually going to be sprinting. Well, he will be in the mix with Bennett, probably, if not sprinting himself, doing the whole Danny Van Poppel Bennett thing. I don't know whether, if I was biased, I'd say Sam Watson because he was 2nd or 3rd at the national champs when Cav won in just rain, and it was like a 200k all out sort of breakaway sort of stage race. But Alex Kirsch I really like as well because he's going to get all those assist points. He's going to be up there from the time trial, and to be honest, it's that thin of a field. He may well be sort of finishing with Pedersen as well, just to keep his GC place.
Yeah, he could definitely be a very solid one. I think that he is I'd say he's probably the safest one I think that in terms of absolute point-getting potential, Gotalat for me is the best. Pedro, who's your favourite 10 credit rider?
It's an hard pick. I believe Kirsch and Watson are more of the safest side of the option. Hasbrook, it's an okay pick. I honestly, it's not gonna work for me. And in terms of potential, yeah, go through it, absolutely. But he's also from the 4, maybe the most maverick pick. If it was me picking a 10-point rider, I believe I'd go with Watson, maybe, because he's just such a well-rounded rider. Is pretty good on all kinds of terrain, and he's just a reliable rider. Also, there is one rider that I was checking, and he's kind of a good sprinter. He has a few good results, top 10s in smaller French races, and I believe he might be his team's main man. It's Roman Cardis. But at 10 points, at 10 credits, it's a little bit too much, but it's definitely a rider to look at. He has a few good results, and it's an option. But for me, it wasn't probably.
Yeah. And Irfan, who's your favourite 10 credit rider?
I think the safest is Alex Kirsch, like you said. And at the moment, I've got Sam Bennett in my team. But now that I'm looking at the list with you guys, there's Biagotra, there's 114 rider as well from actually there's Amira, there's Nance Peters, and Dorian Godon. So in case there's an echelon, they're not going to wait for Sam Bennett, so everyone will just try his own thing. And actually, I know Pierre Gautrat from last year. I used to pick him in my Super Classico. He was at 4 credits, and I got some points with him. But I think at 10, you have to be very brave to pick him. And my favorite 10, and I think I'll pick him, is Tom Van Asbroek. I think he'll make it in the echelon, and Chaos, he'll be up there. So for me, it's Tom Van Asbroek.
I like how we all have somehow ended up with a different 10 credit rider as like our favourite. That's actually quite interesting. It's a good spread.
Only at Provence.
Only at Provence. Although, if we want to put 8 credit riders, there are some which I like the look of. I think my favourite is Ryan Gibbons for a very similar reason to Kirsch in the assist points. He's obviously informed because he's double South African champion. I know it's not like maybe the hardest national championship, but he still won it, and you got to win it to win it. Raul Garcia Pierna, if you believe that he's going to do a good prologue. Samuel Leroux, who of course won a stage at the Etoile de Bessèges. And I don't know, there's also Pierre Barbier, but which Barbier is it that's sprinting?
Pierre.
Pierre's sprinting.
Well, because Rudy, I'm pretty sure it was either a comment or something where he replied to the team's result saying it's so good to be leading out my brother for the first time in my career. But it is annoying because Rudy was really good on AG2R a few years ago.
Yeah.
So, because I'm sure back when UAE Tour was a bit smaller, I'm fairly sure he won a sprint there. So, yeah, but he might be older. That might be the thing. Pierre might be younger, more sprightly. So,
yeah. Are there any 8 credit riders that I'm missing that people have spotted, or
Salby at Bingo?
Yeah.
Is he in
the Danish sprinter?
Oh yeah.
Because he hasn't been setting the world on fire, but he's had a few good results over the years, and he's pretty reliable. He had that horrible crash at Tour Britain last year, so he's coming back from that. Yeah, Salby. I can't fit him in yet. It's either him or Pierre. Pierre Barbier. I think I'm going to end up going for Salby. Purely because Davide Persico is in Colombia, so he's off the start list now. But yeah, with Ryan Gibbons though, I think Ryan Gibbons is quite interesting because he's clearly in good form and he might be leading out Mads, but also there's always the possibility that because it is Tour de Provence and it's not the biggest target in the year, he might get an echelon or something, and Mads just goes, "Yeah, let him go."
Yeah, it's very true. And like you say, assist points as well.
And
Pedro
assist
loves
points, yeah.
points.
I really
Exactly.
like Gibbons, obviously.
Yeah.
The assist points guy. But there's a rider that I'll probably won't pick him, but I just can't not mention him because we've already talked about Stites, but there's Scott McGill on the team, and believe me, the only reason I need to mention him it's because he did extremely well in a Volta a Portugal. Like 2 years ago, he just killed the competition. And when I saw his name, I was like, yep, that's the guy that killed my fellow Portuguese sprinters. Now he's a quite a good sprinter. He's fast. If he can get a good will or something, he'll score a good result. But probably, Stites is a better option. But yeah, I need to mention Scott McGill because he's also an option inside the team. Also, I like LaRue, obviously, but I'll probably end up picking Gibbons because of all the reasons we have already mentioned, and because I'm the assist points guy. So yeah, basically that's it. And Garcia Pierna, I see him doing quite well. I believe he's gonna do a good first stage, a good TT, and probably if there is an echelon, I believe he can ride it. He has the legs for it. He reads the race well, and it's also a good pick, a good strong pick.
Yeah, it's true. So we'll move on to the sixes now. Irfan, who's your favourite 6 credit rider? Is the one which is standing out above the rest for you?
Mr. Matthew Walls.
Oh, yes.
Can't believe it. Like the guy just came from Bora, and he was pretty good there. It's a good time to try this. And I know you guys like Sam Watson, but I think he'll be the sprinter for Groupama FTG. He'll be up front for the echelon. And I think we're all very surprised at how he's priced at 6. So it's just a gift.
Yeah, that's true. What do you reckon? Do we all think that Walls is the best?
Well, he's clearly the best. Well, for me, sorry, he's clearly the best 6 option.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he will be the best sort of option at FTJ as well. I think potentially the reason he's so cheap is because he had that horrible crash injury. It was either last year or 2022 at the Commonwealth Games, and that pretty much ruled him out for a season. But obviously before that, he was beating Nizzolo and everything at Italian Classics and sprints. So hopefully he's back to his best on a new team with Sam Watson obviously helping him out. I'm not sure. I don't know what his time trial history is. So, I mean, being a strong track rider, hopefully he'll have a good prologue. But yeah, I genuinely think he could be I do think he could be a GC contender here, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. I think Walls is a really good one. I think I prefer Watson as his ability as a classics rider to make a front split. That's just my personal opinion. I mean,
I don't think Walls has ever shown. I think he has done classics, but
yeah,
he's always been sort of second, third, fourth option in the list of people. And I think even at Bora, he wasn't really getting doing much more than Marco Haller. So
yeah,
I don't think classics are really his thing.
Yeah,
but he's definitely a versatile sprinter because I think it was that 2022 season. He was climbing and sprinting and finishing off well. I'm pretty sure I was comparing him to like Peter Sagan back in the day. Peter Sagan, 2012 Peter Sagan, when he could, he'd be following the climbers. Well, Michael Matthews as well, I guess, following the climbers up and then being able to have that much faster finish.
Yeah.
Not that there's many climbs in this race. But
Yeah, that's true. But making that stage 3, as I call it, is going to be integral to being worth for GC. If you can't hack that, I want to say it's like 6k at 4%, something like that. It's a category 1 climb.
It's pretty light.
Yeah, if you can't make that, which to be honest with you, I'm not sure if Sam Bennett would. I do have worries, but you have to make that to be able to be there. But
it depends how hard they're riding it as well, because if the weather is absolutely blowing a gale and it's crosswinds, you know,
Watson,
it's grim enough. It's grim enough riding in those conditions, let alone uphill and it's not your terrain.
Yeah, that's why I just really like Watson. I just think he's that kind of rider. I mean, of course, other 6 credit riders. There's loads of. There's 3 Lidl Trek riders in here. There's Vergaard. There's the recently added Jakob Sodervist.
Something like that.
I don't know if I got that right. And then there's he's not 4 credits, unfortunately. George he's denied us that. And there's also Tim de Klerk. So I mean, Pedro could just fill out his team with like 6 Lidl Trek riders and just rake in assist points. It's not even a bad strategy. Like if
well, John did really well at Passage just picking all Trek riders.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm scared John was like top 50.
Yeah, you could literally pick Pedersen, Kirsch, Gibbons, de Klerk, Sodovic, and Vergaard, and just live off the assist points, because Pedersen will win GC by ideally kind of like quite a big margin, where they'll automatically win Team GC as well. So therefore, that's like 50 points at the end there for Team GC. Oh no, 30. Sorry, it's not a Grand Tour. It's 30. And then you get the daily assist points as well for Pedersen winning the stage, for the team classification every day, for the Pedersen being in the leader GC every day. You know, you're getting 70-ish assist points just from that. And, you know, if you don't want to, try and find the 6 credit riders who are, you know, the perfect little person who's going to get you 150 points. There's absolutely nothing wrong with just going with the safety of assist points with the Lidl Trek riders, but especially since I can't really think of many other 6 credit riders. Maybe some of the Groupama guys.
I've already mentioned him. Noppa's already 6, but I've already mentioned him.
Yeah.
But then you've got the Zongler thing. I mean, I really don't. It's just my personal style, but I really don't like doing the assist points thing, because I find it. I mean, it's play your own way, obviously, but I find it really passive and a bit safe. And I like to try and find, you know, the guys that are going to score the points. But looking at this week, it might actually just like, considering how annoyingly well John did, as I said, just picking everyone. I thought, well, it's a bit of a meme for him to pick all the Trek riders, but it's actually worked.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Lorenzo Germani is an okay pick. I think that he could come top 10 of a prologue, but again, you got to be making those front splits in the echelons. There's also Eddie Louis Tooze, another Groupama pick. Again, good time trialist, but we just have very little to go off in terms of whether they'll make a front split if it happens. But in theory, if the racing is calm and these two were to finish, you know, top 15 of a prologue, and then they just roll in with the peloton every day, that's not a bad return, just to kind of rake in those daily points and then get the, I don't know, somewhere around 80-ish for the end of tour points. Yeah, it's probably not bad, especially since Groupama might be up there in the top 3 of Team GC as well, given that they've got a fairly strong team. But I mean, Jeremy Cabot, he finished 5th in the French National Time Trial Championships. Now, he was about 2 minutes down, but he did finish 5th. So
that's like saying the guy on Korotech came 5th in the Swiss National Championships, and he was about 10 minutes down.
Fifth, isn't it? This just goes to show how it is quite hard. Did you say with this Christoph Noppy guy?
Nopper.
Is he a decent pick?
Yeah, so I'm going to have to do some live researching right now. I remember him being the leader for.
This is going to be some Rally for 2021.
So from 2019, he was at Sport Vlaanderen Baloise, and he was at Arkea last year. Now he doesn't have any wins, but let me go to 2019.
It's only 5 years ago. It's fine.
Only 5 years ago. It's fine. You know,
It's only 5 years.
there's plenty of single-figure finishes on that Palma race. He was 4th at Trofeo Palma, which Kittel won. God, the fact that I'm going back to a race that Kittel won is not great.
We're
You know,
back in the archives.
Tour of Turkey. Oh, that's the race I remember him doing well. That's
Yeah.
Tour of Turkey. So you had Jakobsen, Bennett, Cavendish, Ewan, Nopper.
Yep.
Now, fair enough. After that, it's Malicelli, Gibson, Paccioni, Para, Giddish. But you
That's
know,
the kind of
that's the kind of
level we're
field.
dealing with in
It's
this
the kind of
race.
field we're looking at Provence. So
Yeah.
that's
I mean-
kind of he's in my brain from my old age playing Velogames back in the day. Not that there was a Tour of Turkey back in the day, but Nopper is definitely a fast finisher.
Okay. I think that's a good shout. I wasn't aware of that, so I think that's decent. I think
The list is the 6 credit riders list is just so big. You know, there's so many options. I definitely agree that Walls is just the right pick. You can't escape that. Of course, the Lidl Trek guys are the safer option. Like Dan was saying, it's a bit of a more cautious way to approach the race. But I mean, for this beginning of the season, you know, the most riders are not in their perfect shape yet. The races can be a bit hard to read. There are weird races like Provence. It's just, you know, safe points, you know. I mean, if it was for a grand tour, I obviously wouldn't go that way. Maybe if it was a 4 credit rider, maybe for the 6 points. But you know, these kind of races, they are just hard to read, and most of the other riders are a bit of long shots. But of course, the Lidl Trek guys, Walls is gonna be the man.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
that's
And then, well, lastly, 4 credit riders.
Of which there are any.
there are, because there's a few to go at. It's just that we're really scraping the barrel. I mean, I'll say the ones which I quite like, and then you guys can point out any others. So, I mean, somebody did point out Thomas Champion. I think he came 22nd in GC at Etoile de Bessèges. So, you know, that's some little thing to go off. There's this bony face guy who's like a 1m89 guy who did good in some sprints on the like French national level. And I think, well, you know, they've got Dujardin, but there's just some massive units might just be better in a flat sprint. And then I've also got Jérémy Lecroc, who did a couple of top 10s in the Tour de France a few years ago. I remember him being like a 4 credit guy on Velogames.
Yeah. I think he was at B&B Hotels, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. So that's, but again, it's because they've got that Romain Cardis guy in here. It's, you don't really know who Saint Michel Mavic Aubert are going to be riding for, but he's pretty low risk. That's all I've got in terms of 4 credit riders. Does anybody else have another suggestion, or do they want to reiterate the ones that I've said? I don't know.
I seem to remember Kenny Molly being a
What a
sort of
name.
breakaway guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, that team, Van Rijssel-Roubaix, have had a pretty good week with Samuel Leroux winning. So he might sort of, I mean, you never know. Breakaways win occasionally. But that's proper sort of, he would be the kind of guy you'd put in your Velogames Classics team. You just need some 4s to fill it out and he'd go in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, assist points with the Israel Premier Tech guys, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Ollie, I know the name Ollie Knight, Cofidis. I'm not sure what type of rider he is, but I know he's British.
Yeah. You could go with him for a Zongler assist points if you're really scraping for something.
But this just feels very similar to Passage, where it's just like I mean, obviously, you would have got very lucky if you're a family member of Samuel Leroux and you put him in your Velogames team. You probably did all right. But the fours in these kind of races, I mean, I'd be amazed if any of them pick up like a handful of breakaway points.
Yeah.
Well, for sure, Boniface, like Patrick said, is probably the best one, I guess. When I saw his name, it didn't seem weird, the name, so I looked it up, and he had a few good results inside the French circuit. So if Dujardin has some kind of issue or something, he might be the man they choose to do some sprinting. I don't know. Also, there was a guy from Beltrami, I guess, Biancalani. He has some okay results too. If you want to risk it a bit, maybe a top 15, something like that, if he gets lucky enough. Yeah, but those are the two riders I have my notes that might do something. Other than that, it's just maybe the 6 points for Cofidis. But yeah, I'd say Biancalani or Boniface.
Fun. 4 credit riders.
Yeah, I think like there's not much to look from the 6 credit riders other than the Lidl Trek, so it doesn't cost much to downgrade and get some 4 credit riders and try to fix Axel Zingle. And I've looked into some riders from Project Echelon Racing, and actually there's 2 of them that are not that bad at time trialing. And there's one, his name is Samuel Bodman, and the other one is RIM or HIM. So I've looked at their result. They have a couple of decent time trial performance in the USA. And I think Samuel Bodman, he finished in the top 10 of the national TT in USA 1 or 2 years ago. And he beat the like of Machu Recitello. Okay, he's not the greatest time trialist, but still it's some performance. So for 4 credits, there's nothing to waste. Like, I can try him. And I think I'm also picking Alexander Vinokourov Jr.
Just
Just because I think he's going to ride a race at this level, so he might want to show himself maybe in a breakaway or something like that. But that's just a personal choice. I wouldn't advise anyone to do that.
I hadn't even seen that Astana were on this race.
I know, it's so bad, isn't it?
Astana development.
Is it their Devo team?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's their, okay, right. Other than Artem Fofonov, who I think is 4.
Yeah.
I looked at him just because I knew he was on the AG2R U23, and I thought, why has he gone to Astana? And it's because there's nothing there in his results. So, not to be rude to him, but it's I've never ever looked at the Astana development team and thought I must pick one of their riders.
Yeah, I know, right. Well, I'll tell you, I'll reveal my team. I honestly can't remember who I've had on it. I think I've changed it since the video that I uploaded earlier, so it's going to be revealed to me as well. So I've got Pedersen, Van Asbrook. Honestly, I'll probably change Van Asbrook to just like Kirsch, just for the sake of this. That's better. Pedersen, Kirsch, Sheehan, Gortalat, Decker. 6's Perisco obviously isn't here, so we'll just put in that knoppy dude. There we go. I've got this team just for the fact that you get obviously Pedersen. Kirsch I think finishes top 10. I've got Sheehan in here, but obviously you could go with somebody else if you wanted to. But I've kind of just quite like that pick. Gortalat because I have quite a lot of faith. Decker because he's, although was a little bit washed last year, will probably do fine. Walls because for the reasons we said. Shimani I'm banking on doing a good prologue and hanging on for dear life. Watson because I think Watson's pretty good, and then another 6. I think that's my kind of formula. You could go for like a Zongler approach where you then have to obliterate your team into the more credit realm where it's just like.
Could you do Pedersen and either Zongler or Bennett and then just fill the rest of your team with 6 credit FDJ and Trek riders.
I'll try it. I mean,
Live
it probably
tinkering.
could do.
I mean, it's so boring, but it might work.
Pedersen, Zongler, and who? Bennett. And then just a load of 6s.
I don't think you can do it. I think I've tried it with Zongler. I've tried it with all 3 of them, and it doesn't. I think you're over by about 12 or 18. Or something.
You are
because
over.
You're taking up like 70 credits just with those 3 guys.
Okay. Well, I'll drop Bennett for.
I think you have to drop Bennett to like a 10 or something, or 12. Yeah.
Go over Decker, and then we'll take off Germani for. Oh no, we could put on the other. We could put on the guard. There you go.
There you go.
That's
the winning team right there.
That's it. Pedersen.
Thing is, with my
riders.
other email address, you could my other account. You know, you do a fun team sometimes, and it's like just pick a really boring team just to see how well it does.
Just do that. Actually, you could take this one step further. Take off Decker for Kirsch, and then take off Germani, and put on Gibbons. And there you go. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Lidl Trek riders. All right, there you go.
2 Cofferdis.
Zongler and Noppy, and then Nopper, and then Walls, because he's the best 6 credit rider.
I think you might have just picked John's team.
That's John's team. I'll tell you what, Dan, who's on your team right now?
Well, it's not that at the moment, but it might be about to be.
That's where you're going to lose.
I know. Yeah, I'm too adventurous. So I've got Pedersen, Stites, Kirsch, Barbier, as in the Pierre, Gibbons, Nopper, Walls, Goterat, and Decker. Now, I'm really happy with that team. I think that's a really good team. I'm really happy with that, and I might just leave it because if I change it, it will do really well. But that team is annoyingly good that you've got on screen.
I mean, it's annoyingly good in the sense that every time that Pedersen wins, you will be like, "Oh my word, this guy is accumulating so many points just by literally having Lidl Trek riders on his team."
Yeah,
the
thing is, you can't do this at the Grand Tours really because you've got so many different categories. You could only really, like back in the day, you'd have Froome and then like 3 Sky Domestiques in unclassified or something.
Yeah.
But this, I mean, you could. What about you? I mean, you can't because I think it's 7-man teams, isn't it? Here. Yeah, 7-man teams. So you have like 7.
Julien Bernard is missing.
I'm pretty sure. Isn't that not the entire? Oh no, you got 1 Treklet missing. Okay.
Yeah, there's Julien Bernard who's missing from this, but he's 8 credits. If he was 6 credits, mate, he'd be in. He'd be in here.
But anyway, for the sake of my sanity, I have picked an interesting team. Just to have something to look forward to every day.
I mean, Pedro's looking at this team and he is licking his lips. Pedro, who's on your team right now?
I was laughing while they were doing that experimental team, but just hear me out. Pedersen, Zongel, Decker, Gibbons, Leroux, De Klerk, Walls, Boniface, and Biancalani.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, is it the final team? Probably not, but right now, that's what I got. I mean, De Klerk, if there is an echelon, is gonna be.
Yeah, it might be that.
He's gonna be at the front of it.
Mads Pedersen, you know. So it's actually not for the assist points that much in this case, but it's gonna do well if there's an echelon. And Pedersen, Zongel, and Decker are the core of the team, of course, because I believe they will score a lot of points, the 3 of them. So I just had to work with the credits I had left. So that's what I came up with.
Yeah. All right, Irfan, who's on your team so at the moment?
So I had Bennett in, so I'm not taking him. So, but I've listened to you guys, and I'm going to build something around with Mads, Axel Zingle, David Decker, and I've actually watched the tour of Georgia because the Mauritian national team was in there, and I was impressed with Pierre Barbier. So I'll build something around this for Pierre Barbier, Decker, Zingle, and Pedersen. And I think I'll put the Project Echelon Racing Riders as 4 credits.
Nice.
and we'll see how it goes.
Cool. I think it is a little bit of a strange race to make teams for. It's certainly
When
But
the
you
race is
basically-
short and the favourites are that good, it almost feels like you just like Irfan said, you just need like 4 top guys
Yeah.
and then just a load of shrapnel underneath.
yeah, basically that's
That was what Bethesda was.
yeah, pretty much. So anyway, that's all of our teams. Unfortunately, John wasn't here, but this is what John's team would be on screen. So there's no need to fret. John will testify to this probably in the comments section. But anyway, let us know in the comments down below what you're thinking in terms of your team selections. Do you think that just stacking up on Lidl Trek riders might be the way to go and just get 60 assist points per stage? Who knows? That might be the way to go. But anyway, yeah, so put your teams in the comments down below. And all that is left to say is to stay safe out there. And we'll see you in the next episode.